Europe will maintain pressure on Russia. As I just said, we have already adopted 18 sanction packages and we're working on the 19th. Hopefully we will be able to adopt it next month, so that's a bit the time frame we have in mind. And as I said, we know sanctions are working and we will maintain pressure on Russia. All other are pure speculations. This is a reality. Europe continues to maintain full pressure on Russia.
I also wanted to follow up on the call that President von der Leyen and others participated in with President Trump yesterday. Several leaders have indicated when speaking after the meeting that President Trump had offered for the U.S. to contribute to security guarantees for Ukraine. I was wondering if you could confirm that, and also if you have any thoughts on what the next steps would be, because Europeans have been engaging in talks as part of the coalition of the willing on possible future security guarantees. But if the U.S. would take part, what would be the next steps in this coordination? Thank you.
Thanks a lot for the questions, Lily. Indeed, first of all, as we had announced, I can confirm that President von der Leyen has participated yesterday to the various calls between European leaders, President Zelensky and President Trump, relating to Ukraine. I am sure that you have seen on social media some comments from the President relating to these calls. She has said in particular that they have had very good calls, that they exchanged upon the bilateral meeting that will take place between President Trump and President Putin tomorrow in Alaska, and that the calls allowed Europe, the US and NATO to strengthen the common ground for Ukraine. She also has confirmed that we will remain, or she will remain, in close coordination with the other leaders. She has also reiterated, of course, that nobody wants peace more than Europe and Ukraine and the US, a just and lasting peace. For what concerns security guarantees, what I can say is that the US President said indeed yesterday that the US would participate. The details on this are for the US administration to answer. Europe's position on this matter is extremely clear, and it is that there has to be a need for a robust and credible security guarantee that enables Ukraine to effectively defend its sovereignty and territorial integrity. So if I can use the words of the President to explain the concept, she has made reference many times to the steel porcupine strategy, so to make Ukraine completely indigestible for an external aggressor. On next steps, I don't have much to say at this stage. We need to see what comes out of this meeting, and at this stage we cannot speculate further. You have a follow-up. Go ahead, Lily.
It's just a logistical question. As you said, we don't know what will happen on Friday, but do you already have a sense or timings on any consultations that could happen on Saturday, any timings for phone calls or details on formats? Thank you.
I do not have details. Our understanding is indeed that President Trump will debrief President Zelensky and European leaders following his bilateral meeting. We don't have a specific time frame I can share with you on this. It also depends on the timing of the meeting, length, etc., time differences, but our understanding is indeed that there will be a debrief. Go ahead.
Can you walk us through exactly how President von der Leyen will be monitoring that meeting? Will she be in Brussels? Does she already have precise calls scheduled? Anything you can give us? Thanks.
I cannot confirm where the President will be, but of course, wherever she is always in contact with her team. She follows all matters of relevance for Europe, and of course, this is a clear matter of relevance for Europe. She is in constant contact with European leaders, President Zelensky, and as I just said, she has had these calls with President Trump just yesterday. As I was saying, she will be debriefed by President Trump in our understanding, but the exact format and timing I cannot confirm. I believe it will be a call, but on the timings of it, I don't have details to share at this stage. Rosia, yes, go ahead.
Thanks so much. Razia Akoch, AFP News Agency. I just wanted to ask, maybe I've been thinking too much about the next Taylor Swift album, but when you said US and NATO, Europe, to strengthen the common ground for Ukraine, what does that mean? Just to understand, because I understand it's the idea of everyone being on the same page, but in terms of the details, I just struggled with it, and I don't know if it's just me having a summer brain. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. So a number of outcomes came out of the meeting yesterday. There was generally a common position that the first step should be a ceasefire. The current line of contact is the starting point for negotiations. This was also something that was mentioned already by European leaders the other day. Also, a clear outcome of the meeting is that it is for Ukraine to decide on the matter of territorial integrity. Furthermore, on security guarantees, Ukraine forces must be able to defend their country. And of course, we welcome that the US President has said that the US would participate to such security guarantees. Last but not least, another point of general consensus was pressure on Russia. From our side, we know very well that sanctions work. They're putting high pressure on Russia. We have already 18 sanction packages implemented. As we have been saying already in the previous days, we are currently working on a 19th package. Also, we continue our military support and the scale-up of military investments in Ukraine and in Europe. Also on this, we have provided extensive details in the past, but of course, colleagues stand ready to provide additional information if needed. So basically, we will continue to make all efforts to ensure that Ukraine is put in a position of strength in the negotiations with Russia, if and when they take place, and of course also has the capabilities to defend itself in the long term in the future.
Regarding on this particular topic, the sanctions, some say there is a rumor that the EU may be willing to revisit the sanctions in the case that Russia would agree on a ceasefire or perhaps something more substantial than a ceasefire. I would just like to know if there if this one is perhaps a proposal coming from some member states, or there is a specific plan from the ES, the EU, the Commission, something that is coming from Brussels as opposed to proposals from the capitals. Thank you.
Let me be very clear. Europe will maintain pressure on Russia. As I just said, we have already adopted 18 sanction packages and we're working on the 19th. Hopefully we will be able to adopt it next month, so that's a bit the time frame we have in mind. And as I said, we know sanctions are working and we will maintain pressure on Russia. All other are pure speculations. This is a reality. Europe continues to maintain full pressure on Russia.
Kind of a follow-up, the tone after yesterday's calls was very positive, as you also just stated. But as we kind of know, whoever speaks to Trump last has best chance of convincing him. What if the results wished for will not be achieved Friday? How can the EU up the pressure even more?
Thanks indeed. Yesterday's call was a very good call. This is in the words of the President, so I can only confirm that this was the perception from her side. Let me also just reiterate that this is part of intensive contacts that have been taking place between administrations over the last weeks, including at the level of national security advisors. This leaders' call was, of course, the build-up of many iterations. And also, let me just confirm that we're in constant contact with the European partners and the Ukrainians on these matters. US is very well aware of the positions of Ukraine and Europe, both on the need for a just and lasting peace, as well as on Ukraine's and Europe's vital security interests. So we are sure that there is full awareness in this sense. On the meeting, this is a bilateral meeting with two leaders. What Europe is aiming at is it's actually welcoming any meaningful any effort that will lead to meaningful negotiations for what is a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. We cannot, of course, speculate on the outcome of the meeting. What we can say, as I was saying, is that Europe is completely prepared to maintain its full pressure on Russia, as it has been doing from the very beginning of this war, and is prepared to doing in the long term. Our support to Ukraine is unwavering. This meeting tomorrow is, of course, a contact between two leaders. We will see what comes out of it, but the intentions of Europe remain the same.